ಗುರು ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಏನ್ ಸಮಾಚಾರ?
ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಗುರು. ತುಂಬಾ ದಿನ ಆಯ್ತು.
ತುಂಬಾ ದಿನ ಆಯ್ತು. We have a full week from the last test to reflect what happened. And dude, let's just get right to it because
Yeah.
we've both been pretty irritated. So tell me, just give me your overall thoughts on the first test and kind of where we go from here.
It's a tale of lost opportunities, right? It's the constant, you know, getting up to a place where we had a chance to steal the game. But has it happened in so many instances in the past? We just have not capitalized on that momentum gain, on making inroads and getting any sort of advantage, going into day one, going into day two, getting some of that conditions going our way in day four, day five, just didn't capitalize. And I just feel that, it's not the lack of talent. And I feel like the talent was on display in terms of the batsmanship. I think bowlers could have done better, but it was a pretty flat track with the sun beating down. So you can't really, say chalk it down to more the mentality, which is what the English team was better at showing than what we had shown. So just lost opportunities. That's the only way I can put it.
I think the lost opportunities is going to be the big headline. I mean, in various ways. So everyone's going to already has pointed to the drop catches, seven in both innings, six in the first innings, which really hurt. One in the second innings, one wicket off a no ball in the first innings. So, we basically took 27 wickets. No, 22 wickets when
Hmm.
we only needed 20.
Hmm.
And in the second innings, you can't have drops when you're trying to build pressure.
Hmm.
And I feel like that kind of got into our head a little bit as a carryover effect from the first innings, where the guys that we dropped went on to score big, 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 big runs.
Hmm.
So drop catches are a big one, but I really actually want to pinpoint the batting because I feel like despite the drop catches, this test match should have been a draw at worst. When you're 350 for three twice and you cannot get 500 plus, what are we doing?
Yeah.
When you have five centuries in
Right.
across two innings, how can you not score 500 in either innings and really kind of cement a draw as the most likely outcome or even a safe outcome when you
Hmm.
have when you have the test go into what the last hour, literally there was
Hmm.
under 15 overs left. Even if you scored 30 more runs in either innings, that could have extended the match enough to make it a draw. 50 runs, 75 runs definitely would have made it a draw, in my opinion. So I think the batting collapses are really, really an underrated reason why we could
Hmm.
not at
Hmm.
least get something positive out of this match. And that's just excruciating because it goes to show that no matter how well the top five or six bat, even if
Hmm.
they're on 150 not out, they're going to be thinking the rest of the series, the collapse is right around the corner. The
Yeah.
collapse is right around the corner. And that's just a painful, painful spot to be in. And,
Hmm.
it's one of our worst test losses in the recent past, in the last 3 to 5 years. So, I think we've dwelled on it enough. What do you want to see going into the second test as a response?
I definitely go back to like the mentality of it all and credit where it's due, right? The English team were 430 for three down with going into day two, but they believe that they can just come back at some point in this game. I just think that lack of belief in our team in terms of backing the bowlers, are we putting all our eggs in one basket, i.e. Bumrah? Like, are we even trusting Sardal Thakur? Like, what are we doing with our team, right? It's sort of like you say you pick horses for courses, and then you say that Charlo's more of a bowling all-rounder, and you give him 6 overs in the first inning, 6 or 7, and then he picks up the 2 wickets, yes, because he has a knack of like picking up wickets in the odd times, sure. But is that his forte? Like, is that why we pick him? Like, you know, that off chance he's going to get to that 1 wicket, as opposed to picking somebody else like a Kuldeep Yadav who's going to be tough to pick on anyway. You know you're going to get flat tracks with the Bazball era in England. You know if the sun's going to be down on day 3, day 4, you're going to get some purchase off with the wrist spinners. You know, you have to play the conditions, and I just don't think that, you know, the old classic, don't play the odds, play the man. I think Ben Stokes in England did exactly that, right? Our batting up against their bowling should have taken us over and hasn't. And it's the mentality of like, you know, I got to 100, let's just call it a day. You know, I got to 50, let's just, you know, let's take the gas off the pedal. And it's that mentality of like, I have my leg on the jugular, I'm going to press down. Um, that's what I want to see from this team. I hate the fact that on day 4, day 5, day 4 it looked like, oh, you know what, I think we have enough. Day 5 towards lunchtime, you know, it's like, who are we looking at? Are we looking at KL? Are we
No,
looking
no,
at
no.
Rishabh? Are
We
we
were
looking at
looking
Gill?
we were looking
Like,
at the rain.
yeah, no, exactly. We're looking at the clouds coming through. But what I'm trying to say is that it's headless chicken. It's sort of like they're not sure what's going on. And I understand that it's a team in transition, and this is where management comes in, right? So if you have a team with Virat, Rohit, Bumrah, Jadeja, Ashwin, you don't have to sit down and talk about tactics because they've played so many test matches. They've seen out every single scenario out there. It's a young team. You got to tell them like, listen, just hang in there. This is where management needs to, you know, hone in on their skills and their experience. And I just don't think that it's coming through.
So you're looking for a little bit more clear plans, a little bit more stick to itiveness. I'm looking for similar things, but specifically, I'll break it down batting and bowling. Fielding, it's obvious. We're looking for less drops. Batting wise, I want them to honestly pretend like they only have 5 wickets.
Hmm.
I want to see them bat until they drop at the top 5 or 6. Um, I have seen these lower order collapses too often in recent past, and it really like it really cheapens the impact of the top 5. Like when you get all
Hmm.
those hundreds and
Hmm.
still don't put up the runs, it's very deflating. And it's pretty unfair, but I'm calling on the top order to be even more greedy, especially if we see like flatter conditions, hot English summer that is unusual for English tours. I want to see if we're at 350 for 3, we need to put up 550. If we get that opportunity again with the ball, I want to see clear plans. Gill captaincy, little bit following the ball, goes through a second slip. He puts a second slip in there. The ball goes through first slip. He switches the slips. After the ball goes through both slip cordons, he puts a half slip right in between both of them. Then and the ball doesn't go there either. If you're gonna put slips in, put slips in.
Yeah.
Put
Yeah.
first, second, and third slip in. If you want to take out the third slip, okay. I really hate this fly slip thing, especially when it doesn't work. When it comes
Hmm.
off, you look like a genius, but it didn't work in the fourth innings of the last test, and it was really maddening. So clear plans, captaincy, and bowlers. I thought the length overall from the bowlers was too short. The first match, and Prasidh Krishna has talked about this, and it's probably why he went for economy of 5 during the whole test match. You got to pitch the ball up in England. You just have to. There's gonna be something in the air or the seam. You just have to give it a chance. And I think that pretty length Nasser Hussain always talks about, that's the length we stuck to. And if you're even a little bit shorter than that, it's easy to score, especially in
Hmm.
flat conditions that we saw in hot weather in the first test. So pitch the ball up, clear plans from captaincy. think will help us get over the top. Overall, that was just a soul crushing loss to score 5 centuries but still lose.
Hmm.
Now, in order to rebound, let's talk about the team combination, which I'm sure we have to spend a lot of time on. So, all right. Before we even get into the team, we've had lots of discussion about this over the last week, and I put Boomerang in yellow because, dude, like, I don't know if he's available, not available, if he's healthy, if he's
Yeah,
feeling a niggle, if he's
yeah.
playing three times. So, what, like, do you think he's going to play the next test? Like, or are we just succumb to him sitting the second test, even though he's fit? Like, what do you make of this circus?
I I mean, the fact that you called it a circus is very apt. I don't know, sometimes it's not Star Sports, it's like Star Plus with the melodrama and what's Gil going to say in the press conference today, like, oh, we're gonna make a decision about Bumrah at the 11th hour, looking at the conditions and looking at the pitch. You never make a decision about Bumrah based on conditions. You pick Bumrah, period. If he is fit, if he wants to play, if that is part of your plan, you pick him, period. There is no conditions applied. There are no asterisks to this. This is just blatant stupidity that if you have the world's best bowler on your side and he's fit and ready to go, you pick him. That's like not telling that a day before test match doesn't help anybody. If you
Yeah,
think that that's going to offset Ben Stokes, I got news for you. It's not going to do jack all to him.
no way.
In fact, he's going to be like, you know what? I got you. I got you exactly where I want it because I want you to like be scattered mind, and that's exactly what I feel like in this Indian team is. I think the plan initially was we play him in the first test, we try to get a win, and we can potentially rest him for a second test and bring him for the third and the fourth because you play at Lords and Manchester when he's going to get a whole lot of purchase, more purchase, I would say, than Edgbaston, which is typically a batsman's paradise. So I get that being the top process before, but now that we are where we are, if you're not going to, if Bumrah is playing 3 out of 5 tests, then there's really no point to it because there's no point in bringing him at fourth test and fifth test when we're already 3-0 down. Like it makes zero sense. You're here to win. Let's try to get that win. It's just utter chaos and it's a circus, as you said.
Well, since we have the ringleader Gautam Gambhir of the circus making the decisions, do you like do you think Boomer's playing tomorrow or
He
no?
is. He
You
is.
think he's gonna play
Yeah, he's gonna play.
after 3 months of them telling us he's only gonna play three tests?
He's gonna play. The fact that we
Okay,
lost the first test match, I think he's gonna play now. I think they're at this point they're just like, listen, I hope that's the thought process. I really
okay,
hope that's what they're thinking, but he's gonna
okay.
play.
All right. I don't think he's gonna play. My gut tells me that they're going all in on this load management plan. And they're saying now, 48 hours before the test, that he may play to save face. Because I need a minute here. I am disgusted by how they've managed this all the way through. This load management thing only came into the foray following the IPL. And people can disagree with me. I don't care. He played every single match after missing the first four, I think, in the IPL. Yes, it's only 4 overs every match, but we have seen many fast bowlers get injured in the IPL, both in the past and this year. Stark, Lockie Ferguson, Mayank Yadav, Hazelwood had a niggle. So you go full tilt in a deep playoff run for Mumbai Indians. Then you bowl the first test, pretty fine, bowl really well overall. And then the second test comes, we lose the first test in such devastating fashion, and the next thing you know, he's not going to play the second test, which is really dangerous to go down 2-0, and the series is pretty much cooked at that point. but I was told this was the plan ahead of time.
Hmm.
Now I'm being told he might play, and
Hmm.
whether he plays or not now, I feel like you're right that Ben Stokes kind of has a mental edge over us because if he plays, it's desperate. If he doesn't play, our bowling is weak. Like we
Hmm.
lose either way.
Hmm.
So I think the fact that he's so close, I guess, to this back issue in January in the Australia tour, I think they're going to be cautious and pray that the batters can at least get us through a draw and capitalize on a 350 for three if the situation presents itself. So I'm going to put him to the side. And I'm not criticizing Bumrah per se, but I do think he has a role to play in this because if this was really important to him that he was going to play all five tests, then he could have skipped all of the IPL. It's easy for me to say I'm not a Mumbai Indians fan, but and I'm also not counting his money. He's under contract. I think he was going to get the money anyway. But the fact that he played all the IPL, comes in, is fine after the first test, and then suddenly he's going to sit out the second test in a big away series. I just hate that. Whoever's making the decision, him, Gambhir, BCCI, I'm mad at all of them. And if he plays tomorrow, amazing. I'm super happy about that. But I think he's gonna miss the match, and I think it's gonna put us in a big hole. So let's go through the 11 and try to fill out the 11 sans Bumrah. Are you making any changes to Sai Sudarshan at number three?
No, well, I'd give him another go.
Neither am I.
It's too early to pull him out. We need to show some faith. I mean, he's got talent. He was just he looked nervous.
He did. But he
Yeah,
looked a lot better in the second innings, more
he did.
compact. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't make changes there. So speaking of keeping faith, what about Color Nair?
I think I would. Again, and I hate that this is how we're looking at it. It's about keeping face and you know, backing their initial comments about how Ranji Trophy is going to be a major telltale on who gets picked in the test side. Fair enough. You play more red ball, you get picked in the test side. You play more white ball, you got to wait your turn. All fair. That's fair. I mean, Curran had a great season. Curran played in the counties championship and did okay. He did well for the India A team. I think he scored a century along with KL. I'd like to think that he may have had an odd, match and he gets another go just the way Sai Sudarshan does. Just again, not because he's done well in Ranji, but I do think he's a good batter.
Plus, you know, one test after making a comeback from what, 7 or 8 years out of the test team,
Yeah.
I think would be harsh. So I think he gets another go as well. Now it gets interesting. Who's your number
Hmm.
seven?
So I know we've kind of talked about letting go of Jaddu. It's a massive, massive decision, and we can talk about Jaddu's influence in the field. And unfortunately, he dropped one at point, which doesn't make a great statement or doesn't make a great argument for me right now. But um, you know, if we're looking to transition, I think it's a good time to bring Washington Sundar in. I think he has proven to be effective in Australia. I think he has proven to be effective in the red ball. His red ball game is pretty decent. I'm looking back at the last test match that Australia and England played at Edgbaston, and I feel like Nathan Lyon is a pretty tall, lanky off spinner, and I wanted to see how he did, and he didn't really do a whole lot of damage on at Edgbaston.
Okay.
And you're not going to get a whole lot of grip and spin. Maybe day four, maybe day five, just depending on how hot it gets. And I think it's been a hotter summer in England than usual. But having said that, is he a better batter? I mean, he's a better batter now than Jadeja is probably, I would argue.
Probably. Yeah.
And I would say that in an attempt to prevent another collapse from happening, I would lean towards getting Washington Sundar in. Perhaps acting as a crux or somebody in the middle just to kind of hold one end.
Okay. If Sundar is your seven, who's your eight?
So that's the other major point of argument. It's is it going to be Sardal Tucker or is it going to be NKR? Do we need a bowling all rounder or do we need a batting all rounder? And it all depends on if Jasprit Bumrah is playing or not. If
Okay.
Jasprit Bumrah is playing and we have Bumrah, we have Rashid, and we have Siraj, um, or we have, Arshdeep
Archie.
for one of them, then I think I would give NKR a shot. If
Okay.
Bumrah is not playing, I don't think NKR can give you 10 to 12 overs. I don't think that. I think he'll give you
Okay.
10 to 12 overs, but he'll probably go for like five or six and over.
So you're going Sundar, all rounder at 8, and 3 fast bowlers.
Hmm.
Whoa. Okay. So I'm gonna put those on the side here because my team is way different. And this is where I feel like it's a circus because I don't really know what what the team management is thinking in terms of Bumrah. So I'm gonna assume that Bumrah doesn't play.
Hmm.
You're basically saying NKR if Bumrah plays,
Yes.
Shardul if Bumrah is out. I'm gonna say at 7 I want NKR regardless
Okay.
of whether Bumrah
Okay.
plays or not because I think out of the remaining subs, NKR is the best batter at 7.
Hmm.
At number 8, I would like an attacking bowling option because I'm not sure what Boomerang is going to do. So the most attacking bowling option you can get outside of the seamers is Kuldeep.
Okay.
Plus, he can like hold his bat better
Okay.
than the other bowlers, proper bowlers. 9, 10, 11 is easy for me. It's Siraj, Arshdeep, and Prasid because I think that Bumrah will miss the match.
Okay.
If Bumrah does play, I would give Siraj and Prasid another shot. I
Hmm.
think Siraj bowled really well in the second innings. I think Prasid bowled much better than he did in the first innings as well in the second inning. And Arshdeep, I think, will get a game eventually, but he would be the guy to miss out if Bumrah can go. But the
Okay.
reason that I have this 7 through 11 is because you get batting at 7, you get a heavy attacking bowling option at 8, you keep your 3 spearhead pacers, and you add a batter that could fill in some overs equal to Shadlo. It's not like Shadlo was bowling 15 overs at either innings. So you might as well put a guy in who can bowl 6, 7 overs maybe and bat and prevent a low order collapse. He batted really well with the tail in Australia when he made his maiden test century. So I have big faith in NKR, the batter. I have little faith in Jaddu at this age, at this point in his career. I think Kuldeep has an edge on a lot of the English batters, and the 3 seamers stay the same.
Okay.
Who the hell knows what we're actually going to pick? We literally laid out for 4 spots: one, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys for 4 spots. By the way, there's some rumblings that Akash Deep and Dhruv Jurel may sneak into the fold. I'm not even going to put them there. I don't. That
No.
was like a just one source that I saw. So we'll leave this as is, and we'll revisit this when we get to tomorrow. Let's quickly go to the English team now. They're unchanged. I was
Hmm.
expecting Joe Archer to come in. Here's their 11, and we've kind of obsessed over their 11 already and how we couldn't bowl them out in the fourth innings. Is this, like it's not a scary team. I just don't see any fear outside of Joe Root and Ben Duckett. I guess he was looking terrifying in
Yeah.
the second inning.
Yeah, I was going to say, I disagree with that. I think
Okay.
Ben Duckett is actually, if you think about how sparse this utility is in the sense that, who is your next three format player? I feel like Ben Duckett is that person for England, and it's not Harry Brook. Um, I'm actually they're a pretty strong batting side. I think Zach Crawley, once he gets into his flow, he can be pretty devastating. Zach Crawley and Ben Duckett will get to 80 before you know it. And I think that's been their main mojo in this basketball era, is that they get off to a very quick start. And by the time Ollie Pope comes in, and they've been debating Ollie Pope versus our boy, wow,
Bethel.
Jacob Bethel. And I mean, I don't even want to know how this batting lineup's going to look with Jacob Bethel, to be honest with you. But I think Ben Duckett can keep. So if they like switch out Jamie Smith to like bring Bethel in, like we're screwed. Um, Joe Root is Joe Root. He's honestly been one of the most consistent test batters in the recent times. Harry Brook, I think he's finding his feet. This is probably his first major outing with India. He almost got a century there. He's always going to be there and thereabouts. He's always going to get you that near 50 or 50 plus scores. He's sort of that Marnus Labuschagne when he first burst onto the scene type of a deal. I think he's going to do well in English conditions. I don't think he's going to do well outside of it. Ben Stokes is Ben Stokes. One of the best match winning captain batter bowler there is right now. It's that top six is good on any day. That top six in England with Ben Stokes as their captain is a completely different outfit. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about their mentality. They think they can go out there and get 500 runs in the fourth innings and still win a test match. And one of the things that, this is not my point, this is, I think Michael Wan made this point in one of their podcasts. He basically said, I don't think a single shoulder dropped despite being behind at various stages of that test match. And that speaks volumes about what's been talked about in the dressing room and how Ben, backs his boys. And that's massive, right? And that's such a difference to like what we're doing, which is already chop and turn and like, oh, we need to get this guy in and that guy out, and should we show faith in Sai, yes or no? That's the difference. They look settled.
That's actually a great point because our shoulders dropped many times, especially in the second innings. And theirs were like, even when the target was 378, I can't remember who was the interview. It might have been Josh Tongue because he had a couple wickets deep in our third innings. And he was like, yeah, I see no reason why we can't get these runs. And I was just like,
A
what?
bowler, a goddamn
Yeah.
bowler
I was like,
is
what are you talking about, bro?
yeah,
It's 378 in the fourth
yeah.
innings of a test, and they made me look stupid. So I actually agree about the batting, and I had made this point in the series preview episode also. The bowling though, it's not it's not scary to me, but I guess it doesn't really matter if you get to 350 for three and you had two straight collapses. So I'm not going to harp on that point again. I think if conditions are similar, their bowling attack can be had. But Josh Tongue did pick up some steam towards the end of the third innings, like I mentioned,
Yeah.
and Cars actually looked better than I thought. So I think our on paper we're pretty evenly matched. They probably
Hmm.
have a slight edge in batting. We have the definite edge in bowling if Boomer's playing, and probably call it even if Boomer's not. So that's a good segue into the match prediction here. Of course, I'm 0 for 1. OJ nailed his pick. So I will go ahead and be captain pessimist here because I'm so angry and I really don't have much hope about this test for many different reasons. Bumrah, batting lower order woes, fielding, mentality, away test, all of those reasons. I'm picking England. I hope to God I'm wrong, but I just feel terrible about this test coming up. What say you?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I don't think there's I don't think there's even an ounce in me that tells me that this is going to be a draw. I think every single test match, unless it rains for like 2 or 3 days, we're going to get a result. Um, and England just look miles ahead of us right now, just miles and miles ahead. We'll see how it goes for the rest of the series, but the way it stands right now,
Yeah, tell me your
kind of
series.
kind of gloom.
Give me a number. Put a number on it.
Right now, I think 4-0.
I I I
Best case scenario.
I, I put 2-2, but that was at the beginning of the series, and
Yeah.
I don't feel good about 2-2 either. If I had to pick right now, I would also say 4-0. And
Yeah.
look, we have said since we started the podcast, we're not going to sit here and predict that we're just going to win every match, even though it did feel like we were doing that for RCB. But after the way the first test went, we have to be honest and we have to like really look for reasons why we think we'll win this match. I don't see any of them. I really
Yeah.
don't see like if you close your eyes right now, and I told you we are gonna have four Centurions this test. Boomerang will take a five for. You would probably think we're gonna win this next
Hmm.
test match. Well, that's funny because that's what happened in the first test.
Yeah. Right.
And we lost.
Yeah.
So we got everything to go our way, and we still lost the first test. So for us to turn around and predict us winning the second test, it doesn't seem very reasonable. Having said that, if we do win the second test, we're so back. We're
Yeah.
so back.
I do want to make one point here, though. You dot your memory back to Perth, the first Test match in the five Test match series, and the most recent Border Gavaskar series. When we won that Test match, I was like, "Oh my God, we have a chance here to, make it three in a row." The difference between the first Test match and the rest of the Test matches was just the mentality of that team. Like Boomer was an aggressive captain. We played to win, and it just looked completely deflated. 2-2 would have been the case if it was Shastri Kohli with Bumrah and Chami, bowling full tilt on two ends. Like that's what I see here. Um, you know, it's we'll wait and see how bad the first day is going to be. I get a sense we're going to bat first, and we're going to be all at like 220.
Yeah, 220, bro.
Yeah.
150. Another point I wanted to make is I think that even though Broad and Anderson are not around, I think a lot of people looked around and got really comfortable for whatever reason, despite us not having Kohli and Rohit in an away England series. Like,
Yeah.
no matter who is bowling for them, who is batting for them, we're still in England,
Yeah.
where we have had a torrid historical time. We've won one series there in 2.5 decades
Hmm.
when Rahul Dravid was the captain. So you can't just like
Right.
I don't know. People were like 3-1 India. I know Ojish was on here. You made some good points about why that would happen. It felt possible at a lot of various points in the first test. But I just think when you're away in Australia, when you're away in any CNA country, predicting a series win for us is pretty out
Yeah.
there and bold.
Right.
So
Right.
I went really conservative at 2-2, and despite that, I think I'm even more negative now because I don't even think that's possible.
Right.
Um, I don't know, man.
I
I
mean,
That's all I
imagine
got.
put Mark Wood and Jofra Archer instead of Tongue and Karst, and then it's going to be 5-0. Period. You
It's
know.
coming. It's
Yeah.
coming. Second, I
Fifth
think
Test match.
fifth test match. Yeah, yeah.
We'll see.
So we'll see how it goes. We will catch you for the post-match second test, pre-match third test combined episode because there's a short turnaround between the two tests. I should have made this point earlier. Another reason why I don't think Boomerang's playing. Can't imagine him playing 5 days, resting for two. He's definitely playing the Lord's test. Everybody wants to play the Lord's test. So I think that short turnaround makes him not play. Another reason why I think we're gonna lose. Okay, I'm done being negative. Let's hope we're really, really wrong and stupid and go viral for being wrong and stupid. We'll catch you guys in about 6 days. Take care. Jai Hind.
They can go into